Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, has become a powerful figure on the political stage, and with 2024 on the horizon, her vision for the future of America is becoming more clear. As we explore her future plans for the country, we will dive into her approach to the economy, elections, human rights, and a wide range of other issues. In this video, we'll unpack her public speeches, policies, and recent interviews to get a detailed look at what Kamala Harris envisions for the future of the United States. Economic plans: strengthening the middle class. Kamala Harris has long focused on creating a fairer economy, and her future plans emphasize addressing economic inequality, promoting job growth, and supporting small businesses. In her 2024 speeches, Harris stressed the importance of building an economy that works for everyone, not just the top 1%. She aims to expand upon the Biden administration's achievements, particularly in the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, with the goal of helping the middle class prosper. One key aspect of her economic plan involves tax reform. Harris has called for higher taxes on corporations and the ultra-wealthy to ensure that they pay their fair share, while advocating for tax relief for working families. In a recent speech from June 2024, she spoke about the need to close tax loopholes that benefit the richest Americans, noting that it's time we stop asking working families to foot the bill while the wealthiest Americans get away with paying less than their fair share. Her administration would likely push for tax credits for low-income families, improvements in access to affordable housing, and enhanced childcare support. In terms of job creation, Harris has championed green energy jobs. She plans to invest heavily in renewable energy infrastructure, following up on the Biden administration's clean energy initiatives. In a speech in February 2024, she highlighted the importance of leading the world in clean energy innovation, creating millions of high-paying jobs, and securing our energy future. Her long-term economic goals include reducing reliance on fossil fuels while transforming America into a leader in sustainable energy production. Election and voting rights: protecting democracy. Voting rights and protecting democracy have always been central to Kamala Harris's platform. As she prepares for the 2024 election, she is expected to double down on her commitment to expand voter access and defend democratic institutions. In a passionate speech delivered in March 2024, Harris emphasized the urgency of safeguarding voting rights in the face of restrictive voting laws passed in various states. "We cannot allow anyone to undermine the voice of the people," she declared, promising that we will fight tooth and nail to ensure that every eligible American can cast their ballot without barriers. Harris plans to introduce comprehensive federal legislation that would enforce uniform standards for voting across all states. This includes expanded early voting, same-day voter registration, and restoring the Voting Rights Act protections that have been chipped away in recent years. She has also promised to tackle gerrymandering and introduce legislation aimed at reducing the influence of dark money in politics, ensuring that elections are fair and accessible to all citizens. Human rights, equality, and justice for all. Kamala Harris has consistently championed human rights and has made it clear that her future plans will prioritize social justice and equality. In her speeches throughout 2024, Harris reiterated her belief that the United States must confront systemic racism, promote gender equality, and support the LGBTQ+ community. She has outlined plans to expand criminal justice reform by building on the steps taken during the Biden administration, which includes police reform, reducing mass incarceration, and addressing the racial disparities that exist in the justice system. In a speech from May 2024, she declared, "Our criminal justice system must be rooted in fairness, equality, and accountability. We can no longer allow Black and Brown communities to bear the brunt of injustice." Harris plans to invest in community policing initiatives and expand rehabilitation and reentry programs for formerly incarcerated individuals. On women's rights, Kamala Harris has promised to defend reproductive rights. With the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade in recent years, Harris has become one of the most vocal advocates for reproductive freedom. She outlined a nationwide legislative push to protect access to abortion, ensuring that women in every state have the right to make decisions about their own bodies. In her July 2024 speech, she said, "We will not stand by as our daughters, sisters, and mothers are stripped of their fundamental rights. This is a fight we must win." In addition to gender and racial equality, Harris has promised to continue advocating for LGBTQ+ rights. She plans to introduce measures to protect transgender individuals from discrimination and violence, while ensuring that LGBTQ+ Americans have full access to healthcare, housing, and employment without prejudice. Climate change, a call to action. Climate change remains a top priority for Kamala Harris. In her vision for the future, Harris sees the fight against climate change as both a moral imperative and an opportunity for economic transformation. In her 2024 speeches, she has consistently emphasized that climate change is an existential threat that requires immediate action. Harris has called for a bold commitment to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050 and is advocating for massive investments in clean energy technologies, particularly in solar and wind energy. In an April 2024 speech, she declared, "We cannot afford to wait. The time to act on climate change is now. We owe it to our children and future generations." Her future policies include expanding electric vehicle infrastructure, reducing emissions from industrial sectors, and improving public transportation systems to make them more eco-friendly. Healthcare, expanding access and affordability. Kamala Harris has been a staunch advocate for expanding access to affordable healthcare, and she plans to build on the Affordable Care Act to ensure that more Americans can obtain quality healthcare without financial burden. In her speeches from early 2024, Harris outlined her vision for universal health care, which would include expanding Medicare coverage and lowering prescription drug costs. She has proposed measures to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices, which would significantly reduce the financial strain on families. In a speech in March 2024, Harris expressed her commitment to tackling mental health care and making it more accessible, particularly for underserved communities. "Mental health is health," she said, "and we will make sure every American can access the care they need." Her future healthcare policies would involve increased funding for mental health services, addiction treatment programs, and healthcare initiatives targeting rural and low-income areas. Immigration, a comprehensive reform. On immigration, Kamala Harris has long advocated for humane and comprehensive reform. Her future plans include creating a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers and other undocumented immigrants who have contributed to the U.S. economy and society. In her 2024 speeches, she highlighted the need for bipartisan support to overhaul the immigration system. "We are a nation of immigrants, and it is time our policies reflect that value." She has proposed reforms that would streamline the asylum process, improve border security while maintaining humane treatment of migrants, and address the root causes of migration from countries in Central America. Harris's vision for immigration reform focuses on ensuring that families are not separated and that those seeking a better life in America are treated with dignity and respect. International relations. Leadership on the global stage. Kamala Harris also has ambitious plans for the U.S. role on the global stage. She aims to restore America's leadership by rebuilding alliances and addressing global challenges such as climate change, cybersecurity, and international trade. In her 2024 speeches, she emphasized the importance of working with our allies to promote democracy, human rights, and economic prosperity worldwide. Harris has pledged to re-engage with international organizations and to strengthen partnerships with countries that share America's values. Her plans also include investing in diplomacy and using America's influence to promote peace and stability, particularly in conflict zones. Harris has been vocal about using diplomatic means to counter emerging threats from authoritarian regimes, while ensuring that the U.S. remains a key player in global affairs. Harris's vision for the future. Kamala Harris's future plans for the United States cover a wide range of issues, from the economy and voting rights to climate change and immigration reform. Her focus on justice, equality, and sustainability reflects her belief in a more inclusive and prosperous future for all Americans. As we look ahead to 2024, Harris's speeches offer a glimpse into her goals and ambitions as she continues to shape the future of the United States.